Welcome to a new in the mail, the most popular segment hosted here on the Voltlog YouTube channel. Lots of interesting items to show in this video, and as you may be aware, there is the upcoming 11.11 festival advertised on all of these Chinese sales channels like Alibaba, AliExpress, Banggood. I believe they have already started with great discounts, but more are to come. And with the current prices and inflation that has affected everyone, I'm sure a discount is very much appreciated. So let's get this started. First, I have this smart UV curing lamp, and you may be aware of this stuff, which is like UV curable solder mask. You can find this in multiple colors like green, blue, yellow, are just a few that I have used. You put a little bit of this stuff in a thin layer over some repair you did, then you cure it with a UV light and it becomes a hard protective and insulating layer. And I use this a lot for tiny repairs, like here is an example of this small PCB. This is a Voltlog USB to serial adapter, which had a defect. I repaired it and used a little bit of this UV curable solder mask to insulate the repair. By the way, do you guys use UV curable solder mask whenever you do some PCB repair, or do you have other options, or do you just not care about adding a protective layer or mechanical stability when you do a repair? Let me know in the comments below. However, you are not limited to this type of application. There are also a bunch of adhesives out there that are UV curable, so there's lots of applications. I used to do the curing part using this UV flashlight that I purchased a while ago. It worked, but I had to, stand there and aim the UV flashlight at the PCB for a minute or so. Well, not anymore. With this clicky switch and an internal timer that you can set between 30 seconds and 60 seconds and continuous usage. It also has these raised corners, which means you can actually place it on top of the PCB, and you don't have to hold it anymore. You set the timer and it will get the job done. I'm pretty happy with the build quality. This enclosure is made out of metal. The curing happens very fast, even 30 seconds is enough, and this thing's got enough power for the classic UV solder mask, so I can recommend it if you're in the market for such a curing lamp. A link will be provided in the description below. There's even a version with an integrated battery. I didn't find that useful because I use this on my workbench where I always have power, like a USB Type-C connector that I can connect. So it doesn't make sense for me to have a battery in this. If you're thinking about asking the wavelength of this lamp, well, they don't mention it on the product description. All I can tell you is that it just works fine with the UV curable solder mask, and that thing typically needs around 370 nanometers. So this is likely like a more spread spectrum output that covers that range, and it just works fine. The sponsor of this video, PCBWay.com, is a professional PCB manufacturer with excellent quality and fast turnaround times. From 2 layers to advanced multi-layer flex rigid PCBs, PCBWay will have you covered. You could also try their new module store on their website, where by using bonus points or cash, you can purchase a great variety of electronic modules and related tools. Check out their website linked below. Next, I ordered myself one of these wide tip tweezers because I recently needed such a tool. And I just realized that all of my tweezers are mostly sharp, fine tip type, and I must have something like 10 different tweezers here in the lab, and not one of them had this style of wide tips. These can be handy sometimes even for simple things like grabbing a hot PCB off a hot plate where you just soldered or reflowed. These are cheap and handy, and it's useful to keep a variety of tweezers around your lab. Next, I ordered myself some extra colors for this type of 32 AWG with 7 strands of tinned copper inside. The actual description of the product looks confusing to me because they say product name UL1571 and product model UL1061. So that's the confusing part, but it's just some basic hookup wire rated for 80 degrees Celsius and 300 volts PVC insulation. Outer diameter is 0.6 millimeter, which is what was important to me. And I use these as tiny repair or jumper wires for doing mods and general repairs on PCBs. And like I said, I already had this type of cable shown in a previous Mailbag videos. I just wanted to expand on the available colors. Same as always, I will put a link to this product in the description below. For this next item, I'm going to start with a bit of a backstory. A friend asked to help him repair a ripped micro USB connector on a solar inverter, and the suggested repair was to wire a panel, or at least a floating external USB connector, maybe a USB type B, which has better mechanical strength. So at that point I just wired a PCB mounting type USB type B connector, but I just soldered wires to it and finished the repair. Left it hanging in the air. But I also ordered this from AliExpress, which could help with future repairs, because I could screw this into a front panel or some kind of attachment point having a very strong connection, and then I could just cut this connector away and solder it to the PCB connections. Next, I ordered myself one of these battery pack cases. So this is designed in the shape and size of a standard 12 volt 7 amp hour lead acid battery, complete with the blade terminals on the top side in the same position as the original battery. But as accessories, you can get these nickel strips. You can get the BMS PCB, plus a couple of these 18650 3x7 holder brackets. Which would allow you to convert or build a lithium-ion based battery inside this enclosure with up to 21 cells, wired in a configuration of your choice, but this would likely be a 3S7P pack, for example, to operate around the 12 volt mark, but with increased current and capacity. And this is definitely one interesting product, because people may want to use this to replace lead acid batteries in various products like a UPS or some children electric go-kart for various reasons, like I mentioned, increased capacity and current discharge capability. But one concern I have is with the charging of the lithium batteries, which would be handled by this tiny BMS board. It would be practically limiting the maximum charge voltage, limiting the current, and trying to balance the individual cells. But would this board be capable of charging and protecting the batteries with just a standard 12 to 14 volt lead acid charging circuitry? I don't know. It doesn't look like some high quality product. In fact, here is a diode which arrived loosely inside the package, and we can clearly see that it was ripped off from the PCB, complete with the pads. So this is not a high quality product. This could be a topic for another video for me to check if this would safely charge the batteries, but for now, just the enclosure could be good enough if you're thinking to purchase it. We just need to review this BMS board further. Next up, I have a set of these rather small screw hole cable ties, and these come in a variety of sizes, of course, and they can obviously be very helpful for some small wiring jobs where you just need like a simple way of routing a wire on a panel board or inside an enclosure. You might need just 1 or 2 attachment points. These can help you with that, because you just insert a screw through the loophole and then secure the cable tie as usual. Next up, I got myself one of these famous cable combs that you see everyone using these days, especially on videos that YouTube recommends to me lately. There are these guys that do cable installations, particularly for server racks and such. They all seem to be using a variety of this cable comb for organizing the cables in a smooth cable bundle where they all run parallel, exactly as shown in this image. Because then you can wrap and route them around and it looks very nice and tidy. So I might have to do this for the small office building where my office is located. I discussed this with the building owner, which is a friend, where we are considering switching from a rather small wall encased media box where our switches and router is located to a proper external rack to give us more space, because the needs have grown. So I hope I'm gonna put this to good use very soon. And something that popped up in my suggested product list on AliExpress is this face protection masks. And there are multiple uses mentioned in the product description. They mention kitchen. It's kind of hard for me to imagine how you would use this in the kitchen. Like how? When you're cutting onions? That would be hilarious. But I was thinking I could use it when doing Dremel or polishing work to just protect my face from tiny splinters. It fits fine over my face. It also comes with these filters that you can install down here. I don't plan to be using these filters. You can also get it as a clear, like I have here, or in a yellowish brown tint, which I guess would be effective in the outdoors, maybe for bright sunlight. But one thing that I don't like is that this cheap, I believe this is polycarbonate plastic, it does introduce some distortion due to its curvature and just the shape of it. So it does impair your vision in a limited way. It's still usable, but not great. Like when using one of those protection eyeglasses, those don't introduce as much distortion as this does. That's just something you have to be aware when ordering one of these. They also mention some anti-fog properties. I would not purchase based on that. I think at some point, if you're sweaty, this will fog up. But if you want to get one, the link is in the description below. Recently, I've been doing some 3D printing plus heated threaded inserts, so I need to replenish my stock and to get different sizes ordered. So I got a few different ones in here. You also might want to check out the heated threaded insert tool, which I got in a previous mailbag video. I believe it was Voltlog 457. I mean, there's not much to say about these, except that you will need to experiment with various hole width and depth in your 3D print in your plastic to get these to set strongly. As you may be aware, we already have on the market products that you can order today with USB Type-C with PD support up to 240 watts. Those are chargers that I'm talking about. They can do 5 amps at 48 volts. They could not increase the current easily with the size and shape of the USB-C port, but they were able to increase the voltage. So now we can get up to 240 watts delivered. Well, I may test such chargers soon, and I need a way to trigger them. One of these, to use one of these so-called USB Decoy Modules that you've seen me use before. And I couldn't find one with 48 volt support up to 240 watts, but I did find one which is 140 watts capable up to 28 volts. So I ordered it. I believe I also have the FNIR-C USB monitors. Those can also trigger 140 watts, I think. I'm not sure if they can go up to 240 watts. I still need to do a more detailed review of those in a separate video. But until then, you can grab one of these decoy modules with the link I've placed in the description. I've also ordered a couple of the more standard up to 20 volts USB-C PD triggering modules, because oftentimes I need to test multiple USB ports at the same time, like I do with the power station reviews. So these are technically capable of selecting individual voltages of 5, 9, 12, 15 and 20 volts, and they should handle up to 5 amps. With this purple one, you get these 3 small dip switches, and you get a table on the back of the module with the bit combination for selecting the various voltage levels. With this black version, you get a tactile switch that cycles through the same voltage steps, but it does so through that tactile switch and also gives you a visual indication of the selected level. So I would probably prefer this type of module just for convenience, because you also get visual feedback of the selected voltage level and you don't have to mess around with dip switches. I did say that these should support 20 volts up to 5 amps, which means 100 watts, but technically it's a little more complicated than that. For anything above 65 watts, you technically need what's called an E-mark USB cable, which has a chip inside the connector of the cable to signal that the cable can also handle more than 65 watts. So the charger will not enable more than 65 watts until it sees that it has that chip and is correctly communicating with the chip and negotiating. On the more advanced black module, there are also a few other features which are activated by using the solder jumpers on the back. These dictate the decoy module behavior on connection events or short circuit events, but I won't go into those details. You can read more about it on the product page, which is linked in the description. Next up, I did get a couple more of these tiny USB LED lamps that you can get in various colors. and I have blue and warm white here, and they can be handy in a variety of scenarios. Like you could very well use one of these as a night lamp in a hallway, having it plugged in some old USB charger that you have laying around, because these use very little power. I believe that they can also work as some kind of low power emergency lamps that you can plug into various power banks at home when there is a power outage at night or while you are away camping, for example. So I'm gonna keep a few of these around because I find them handy. Next up, I have a set of these carabiners, which I have shown in previous mailbag video, but back then I was just sampling them for the first time. They are cheaper and convenient to use when compared to other more beefy carabiners that I used to purchase. I just wasn't sure that these would hold up for stuff like a hammock, for example. But I have to say that I have tested these with a hammock with a 100 kilogram loading weight, and there was no visible stretching or bending on these while doing the test. So I'm pretty confident for using them in these non-life threatening situations. So I got 2 more sets just to keep around for a second hammock and general camping situations. Next, also in the camping aisle, I got one of these portable double-purpose bottle openers. So it's metal. They claim it's zinc alloy. Not sure how I would check that, but nor do I care too much about it. You have a basic beer opener on this end, and if you unscrew this, hidden and protected inside is a wine bottle opener, which is very convenient. So I guess this will probably end up attached to my hammock with a tiny carabiner for those nice evenings spent in the nature. Next item was once again one that was suggested by the AliExpress suggested products list, probably based on the various tracking that they do on me, on my browsing history, etc. This is described as a cord organizer / holder with a triangle buckle at the end, and it comes in a few different sizes. I do have the small size here, which is about the size of my palm. And it's a nice way of hanging some extension cord or any other piece of gear in your workshop, or maybe some rope attached to your backpack, something like that. It has this Velcro, which makes it pretty easy and convenient to use. And I think I'll even get the second one because they're very cheap and convenient for organizing stuff. And the last item in this video is an ESP32S3 development board, because, you know, I do a lot of work on the ESP32 platform, both for professional clients and for my own personal projects, and I do like having development boards in all sizes and shapes, especially for each ESP32 variant. And this one in particular is for the ESP32S3, 16 megabytes of flash, 8 megabytes PS RAM, which is a true power horse in the lineup, very capable module. This board is called Lolin S3 and comes with these 2 USB-C ports. I'm guessing one of these ports will be host, the other one will be device. We got the usual 2 switches, an RGB LED, this is a WS2812 chip type, and the usual breakout of all of the GPIOs to the sides. As usual, these Lolin boards are open source, cheaply available, so you can check out the schematics as well as other info on their wiki website. And I think we'll stop here for today, as this video is already long enough and I just can't even fit all of the items I've shown in this ending clip. It's already probably made a dent in your budget as well. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button and leave a comment below to let me know if you ordered any of the items shown here. I'll be seeing you next time.